Good.
All right. Well, that sound from here.
It looks good.
All right, cool. All right, yeah, man. We finally saw fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah, after all the years of waiting.
I know, right? Like, all right, first of all, let's start off from the beginning here. All right, how excited were you when they finally just brought it back into the MCU? Like, real quick, just like,
Well, here's the thing. It's like, I mean, the whole thing I've been waiting for the entire time they started making superhero movies is just like crossovers, just mad crossovers all the time. You got
Right.
all the characters, you could just do it, but then all this licensing shit happened.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was a little bummed, but I especially want the X-Men, but
Right.
that's just me. Can't have
Right.
that. So
Out of your
Spider-Man, that's Spider-Man at least is like the most like hub centric of all the Marvel people,
Right.
in my opinion.
Right. Well, it's just like the prodigal son, so to speak. It's like their Superman, so to speak.
Right.
I mean, with I guess popularity or Batman. I think Batman's a better comparison. But yeah, once they announced that Sony was willing to partner up with Marvel Studios and start making films with Spider-Man within the MCU, yeah, dude, that was an awesome thing. And
Yeah.
then fast forward months later, we see him in Civil War, and he pretty much goddamn like steals the movie.
Yeah, from just like the 30 seconds he's in it.
Oh, exactly. And then once we saw the trailer, my hype factor for this movie was on an all-time high. But once we finally saw it, there were some weird moment, like there were some pacing issues here and there, but ultimately I thought it delivered.
I don't know. I thought it was action packed.
Yeah.
Beginning to end. I wasn't bored at any point.
No, I wasn't saying like there was some no, not like any good parts. Like I enjoyed myself through the whole film, but there was just some like I feel like the main love interest didn't really feel that all important. You know what I mean? Like
Well-
I knew like she was supposed to be set up to be the Peter's crush. Because the setting is Peter's in school and whatnot. He's in high school, and typical teenage comedy dramedy film. So, but yeah, but that's probably my only complaint. But other than that, she was perfect. Geez, I don't know if you can pass my phone over there, so I could just like pull up the IMDb of it.
Of what?
Well, the cast. So once we get to like talk about this, we won't be like saying, "Oh, that dude," and try to refer to other films, since that's
What I'm curious about is if
awesomeness of technology.
You've got Zendaya in there as this MJ character.
Right.
I don't know. Are they just not going with Mary Jane? Is that just like supposed to be tongue in cheek?
Well, I don't know what they're gonna do with it. I think Marvel is just doing their own thing when it comes to the.
I mean, not that I'd be like particularly sad about it because
Right.
we've seen it.
Right. I mean, we've already seen the whole relationship with MJ, but I think Peter Fergie went out and say that that's not necessarily the MJ that we know, but when we saw the film, there were some certain aspects of Spider-Man that weren't really the same as we saw, like from the cartoons or the older films, like for example, his Spidey sense.
Yeah,
they didn't
he
really
had like no Spidey sense at all.
Right. Exactly. So they didn't really.
Which that was like weird because like
Kinda-
he got sucker punched more than once.
Yeah, easily.
And it's like, what? He would have seen that coming.
Yeah, and especially during that whole the boat scene when Vulture just like kind of popped out of that fucking van, he definitely would have noticed. Oh no, that's some dangers coming my way. But I think they hint at it in Civil War that he still hasn't really focused his
he
senses.
hasn't. Yeah, he hasn't really come into himself as
Right.
a superhero.
So I think they're playing some film. They're kind of fooling around with a little bit of the Spidey mythos. So I'm totally fine with Zendaya being MJ and not necessarily be Mary Jane.
Yeah.
It could be something totally different, but still be that love interest for Peter throughout his years now from that point on. I think she was awesome. I think she was very smart, clever. Her character was on point when it comes to comebacks and whatnot.
Yeah.
Same thing with Peter's best friend. Sorry, freaking blanking on the kid. Fucking IMDb is failing me here. Oh, damn it. But I think his friend's name is Ned, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And he was funny throughout the whole film.
Yeah.
Definitely a great supporting character. Definitely a great guy in the chair type of character.
Yeah, that was probably the best part.
Yeah. The whole back and forth between them, how they're like, oh no, this is how superheroes are supposed to do. The superhero always has this, always has that. Their naiveness was very awesome to see. It was kind of nice to see a Marvel film that like the hero or the stakes wasn't really like on a global scale. Even with Doctor Strange, I just saw that a couple like weeks ago before seeing this. It was all like, oh, Dormammu and world-ending stakes. So Spider-Man is just like he's just stopping some dude, trying to commit a heist. That's it.
Yeah, some guy who's down on his luck.
Right. Oh yeah, and speaking, Michael Keaton, the Vulture, probably one of the best villains.
Yeah.
From a while. I can't even think of the last good villain. Maybe Ronan from Guardian of the Galaxy. He was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
But even Guardians of the Galaxy, it's like, it's in space.
Right.
It's unrelatable.
Right. So, but yeah, they kind of made Michael Keaton the Vulture
I like how they, really tied everything in.
Right.
They had the Tinkerer there.
Right. They got the Shocker there. They had both versions of the Shocker because, one does like go to jail or perish, and then another one takes the mantle because it's just a common crook.
Yeah.
With gadgets. Same thing with like the Goblin.
I guess the gauntlet that he had was from the dude with the skull face from Captain
Crossbones.
America.
Crossbones. Yeah. That was a modified thing, or I think probably the exact same thing. I don't know if it was or not. But they do mention that it's a correlation between that same thing with that film as well. And that's kind of cool that's the kind of connectivity I like, I enjoy. Like, a lot of people complain about the whole, to sidetrack real quick from the film, like a lot of people like to complain about the whole kind of everything has to be connected, sort of type of thing. And so sometimes certain scenes just feel kind of like, oh no, it's just there to serve that certain purpose. And yeah, that's all fine and well. Some people like it, some people don't. I'm totally fine with it. I don't feel either way about it. But I like that small stuff though. It's like, oh, like it's stuff like if you were paying attention at the film, not the mythos, just the films itself. Like,
right.
Oh, hey, yeah, that's that and whatnot. And
yeah, like you don't have to know anything.
Exactly.
But going in, you just have to have seen. Exactly.
The film is just like, oh, hey, that's just like that fun little prop you might see come up from time to time.
Although it's funny now that like my main complaint about comic books going into it is that like it's so hard. Where do you even start?
Right.
Everything is so like intertwined and
that's
different universes
that's true.
And all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how the movies are getting now.
Yeah,
it's like,
totally, man.
It's like, if you watch Spider-Man, Iron Man's all up in there,
right?
And then the whole plot is based around like the Avengers,
right? Him trying to be an Avenger or whatever. And
yeah. So.
And whatnot.
I mean, not that you can't understand the movie otherwise.
No, dude, yeah, I totally feel you. For a minute there, I thought people were just complaining, but that's when fucking there was like 3 movies to watch. But now there's this whole catalog of shit that you have to keep track of, and now I feel for people who don't keep up with this type of stuff or are not really big fans. Like,
I saw this article that keeps popping around on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, if you're watching Marvel movies, this is how you need to watch them.
Right, exactly.
Which is interesting. It's like
graph or
because we've like been
outline.
there. We've seen them all come out
right
chronologically. We don't need a map.
Absolutely. We kind of just know everything that just happened, and
But now we've reached a point. They've made so many movies across such a long time that like
right.
It's there's kids who weren't old enough to see the movies before, and
Right.
now like they're seeing Spider-Man, and it's like, well, what's all this?
Exactly.
So then they have to go
It's-
back and watch what 20 movies.
Well, I think when it comes to like kids have time, like all the time in the world during that age, so
Oh,
they could
well,
just sit and watch
sure.
those movies. I'm talking about like young adults or people who are just trying to like who are still fans of the source material, but it's just can't keep up, or they can't have the time to just watch every single film that comes out in this universe.
I mean, I haven't even seen all the Iron Man movies.
Yeah, you know, exactly. And I by chance I've seen most of the films, but yeah, I haven't seen Thor in theaters or anything like that. I haven't seen Doctor Strange. I just seen it on like on TV or on
Yeah.
streaming services. And
Yeah, and now like now there's even more stuff because
Yeah.
they're like introducing all the Netflix TV
Exactly,
shows, and then
and-
there's all the NBC TV shows or whatever
Yeah,
network
it's
it's on.
getting
And,
to a
and
point
they
where
each
it's,
have their own like different feel, but they're still
Right.
technically connected.
exactly. And I don't know how I feel about when you start talking about the whole picture, because then that's just going crazy. It's just at a certain point, it's like, can we just focus on making a good story at first, and then worry about the connectivity stuff?
Yeah, that's what I kind of
Yeah.
miss about the early movies like Iron Man
Right.
and the Hulk,
Right.
and because they had like Nick Fury at the end and the Stinger, like, oh
Exactly.
man, we're building up to this, but now it's just like everything is.
Right, Nick Fury has shown up 5 times before the Stinger, and then he's in the Stinger anyway. Like it's getting to the point where there's no surprise. It's just like, oh, I guess this has to be it, because this eventually we're going to be to point B over here, which is Infinity Ward. Not Infinity Ward as a video game developer, Infinity Wars, and so yeah, it gets a little overwhelming at a certain point when it comes to trying to just keep
mean-
up with everything within Marvel, the whole just studio universe. Like,
Yeah.
not forget about movies, just or everything all together. It's just like, wow, god damn it! It's just like,
Yeah, I'm really glad that they don't. I mean,
thank God
maybe
for fucking Wikipedia. Like,
maybe there's like certain Easter eggs they put in from like Agents of Shield,
Right.
but like I don't want to watch that show.
right? There's nothing that like
And it kind of sucks that like Ghost Rider was on that,
Right.
Because I'm like I'd love to see more Ghost Rider, but
not in this context.
yeah,
Like,
because
you don't
I
wanna
mean
see
I
it
know I
in-
know that there's people who like the show. I don't. I've seen it. I don't like it.
Right, I've seen episodes of Shield as well, and I came from that it's okay. This is basically a ad for the cinematic universe, because they talk about all the cool stuff, and every now and then you might see a cool scene there, but it's just like, yeah, we're Shield. There's superheroes out there. We're not gonna show them to you, but they're out there. Trust us.
Yeah.
We're Shield. We know. And
Yeah, but I mean that just goes back to the 90s cartoons. Like
Right.
every time Spider-Man came across Shield, it was
Right.
never a good time. It was like
Shield was
fucking-
always,
they were just in the way.
they were the principal of the Marvel universe. Everyone didn't like it when they showed up, so everyone had grown. It just sucked the fun out the room, and yeah, it's getting to a point where it's getting to just gets too much. The good thing about the cartoons is they were cartoons. They could just draw whatever and do whatever
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, that's that
So it's
there wasn't enough. You didn't need any setup. You just like
Right.
you already knew like that's,
Right.
that's the X-Men. That's
exactly
Iron Man.
Yeah, that's Wolverine wearing his patented blue and yellow fucking suit. Fuck yeah! All right, we know where this is going, and it's the same cheesy Fox animation. All right, okay, cool. Like it's a good to go type of situation. Even when they did their other series like Spider-Man Unlimited, they were able to toss in some of those future versions of
Yeah.
heroes and whatnot, and I thought that was fucking dope as shit. And then I don't know, did Spider-Man ever cross over on the X-Men show? I don't remember.
I think
I don't remember
I think
anyone-
they stopped making X-Men before,
Yeah,
or like, because when they did the Spider-Man X-Men crossover, it was completely different animation,
totally.
and
but-
they were going for like the that weird 3D.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned the weird cheesy animation, because there were certain moments where Beast's kind of cell was a little off.
Yeah.
At times, like there was some things that were shaded in, then there was some things that were not.
Yeah, or
and-
well, I mean, even going back to that when we were started to rewatch the X-Men,
Right.
And then
Wow.
Morph is like in a jacket, not in a jacket,
in a trench coat.
yeah, in a trench coat.
The jacket evolved. The jacket had its
Yeah.
own arc in the show. Fucking Morph. So that's why that's the fun stuff when you go back watching the shows. Now you notice that weird shit, and you'll definitely notice that there was a lot more adult undertones with those shows than you originally thought. You know,
Well, yeah, I mean,
it was. Yeah, it was early. It was like the late '90s. Everything was getting extreme. You know, everything had to
Yeah.
get real for the kids. You know, it was a time of Spawn and Blade and whatnot, and everything was just like, yeah, the X Games was really popular, and
I wonder how
Everyone wanted to be like
the
Tony Hawk.
Spawn movie holds up.
I'm guessing not well. I haven't seen it. It's on Netflix, but I haven't seen it in a while. I've heard some news coming out of San Diego Comic-Con that they finally greenlit like Todd McFarlane's new version of Spawn, which is basically he wrote like a synopsis on some interview or whatever, and he wants to make Spawn like this Spectre, this ever present threat for evildoers and whatnot. Sort of like Batman, but more boogeyman-ish. So
Yeah, well, kind of more like Ghost Rider in that sense.
right. But he wants it to be more hard R and be more.
Well, yeah, I mean, Spawn is hard R. Like,
Right.
If they ever try to make Spawn accessible to kids, they're doing it wrong.
Exactly, they're just totally just not doing justice to the tone or
Yeah.
idea,
Just
or what
missed the point.
or what made
entirely.
that character appealing to kids in the first place. It was just like, oh, this guy was this was the superhero that your parents liked or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, or your parents didn't want you.
oh
to
yeah,
watch.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Some shit like that. But getting back to the subject of this episode, Spider-Man was able to be coherent enough. Like, I don't think you had to watch Iron Man to understand why he was there. It was just Avengers, and we know Iron Man was just like an important part of Avengers. You kind of set that up. They didn't really go through much backstory because at the end of the day, it's a Spider-Man story. It's about him.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's some stuff that you might go over your head if you haven't seen the rest of the films. Some of the alien material. When they talk about that stuff, maybe you might not know that it's from like the first fucking Avengers.
Yeah,
because that's
yeah,
a fucking crazy callback that they did. But it made sense. It made sense with the character of Michael Keaton's character. Like,
yeah, definitely. I like how they tied it in that way because
Right.
if you really think about it,
Yeah.
like, who are these like low level criminals?
Right.
How are they getting this technology?
Right.
Where
Well,
is
they-
it coming from?
There used to be fucking scrappers, and obviously the city had to clean up that fucking mess, and it definitely made it more grounded. I know that's a weird thing to say about in superhero films, but
Yeah.
that was a cool aspect of that film. Which again, I really, like I said, I like the whole film that was just grounded as much as it can be. It's it's nothing world threatening stakes. None of that shit. You don't see everybody teaming up. Yeah, you might see those like the splashes you already saw in the trailers or whatever of Spider-Man
Yeah.
and Iron Man. But I was kind of glad that was kind of so few and far
Yeah, exactly.
because it kind of really made the whole character of Peter Parker and as well his friends and whatnot really shine. On top of that, like everyone was really fucking funny in that. The teachers were funny, the kids were funny.
Yeah, the casting
Yeah.
all around
Was
was
really good.
amazing.
Yeah.
I love Flash Thompson. Like,
Flash Thompson,
because I
Penis Parker. Oh my god, yeah.
because they really like did a good job of making like a modern bully.
Yeah.
Because if you go into any high school, yeah, there's probably jocks there, but
But yeah, jocks are typically not anymore the
that like archetype is like
that's so passe and
like
played
all the
out.
bullies that I've ever had as a kid have just been like losers who have been like particularly assholes,
Right, they just
for whatever reason.
They were just kids with like random anger issues. Like they were never jocks. They were
Yeah.
never playing QB on the football team. They were just typically those were the kids that were actually really good in their community or whatever. So, but yeah, it made sense. Of like the era of the time of like where it was taking place, and I think on top of the characters like Flash Thompson and MJ and Ed and whatnot, I think they had a really good sense of how high school works.
yeah, definitely.
And I think that helps because of I'm blanking on the writer's name, but since he was the kid in Freaks and Geeks working on the project
right.
like that already. He kind of knew like, no, it's not so much of like just understanding kids, like watching videos. Like you got to understand the mind of a kid at this time. If anything, that was so awesome about Freaks and Geeks. It really represented the mind of a teenager during that period,
right?
Because the writers were just, they lived through that period, so they actually just knew it. And so that's why other films like Dope or whatever was really good, because it just represents like the people behind it actually had a good understanding of what was really going on within the youth or whatnot.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was kind of the thing about like, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's like the high school scenes were very like,
yeah, it's
stereotypical, like,
and I don't think they really played off them as kids. Like I knew everyone in that goddamn scene was like over 30.
Yeah, it had the like Dawson's Creek effect.
Yeah, it was a little wonky, but you didn't care because it was Spider-Man for the first time, so you were just willing to accept it.
Yeah, that was our standards were really low,
right?
Because
totally
before that, the hottest shit was the Batman movies.
Yeah, Batman and Robin, Batman Returns,
and those are so bad.
Fuck like that. Although I do,
when we were kids, we thought that was so awesome.
Yeah, because we were kids, but now you're able to realize, oh no, this film wasn't so great or whatever. So, yeah, but going back to Spider-Man, yeah, the whole high school felt fucking good. Like it made me believe that yes, this is a young kid. Like even though I think Tom Holland is actually 20, 21 years old, but he definitely pulled off being a 15 and 14-year-old kid.
You wouldn't know that.
Yeah, I think most of the cast is like in their late teens or at least in their early 20s. But makes sense. Like at least I'm happy that they didn't fucking try to pull a Fast 7 with a kid from Tokyo Drift.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Like that's the
Yeah, dude.
That was the weirdest part, because
scene.
it's like, you see him in that scene, and then all of a sudden he's like 10 years older, like
totally. So it was just I love that scene because it's just how ridiculous they were trying to play it off. God bless them. Anyway, yeah, dude. But then, I was happy there was not that much of Iron Man, but when Iron Man was there, I was happy that it actually just added on to Peter Parker. Like Iron Man was definitely being that guardian. That parent, that father figure, so to speak, which, again, props to the movie. They didn't go through the whole fucking Uncle Ben scenario.
Yeah, like
super happy about that. And
that's what I think the best thing, the best decision they made, like bringing Spider-Man back,
right,
is that like they were like, okay, we don't need an origin story. He's already Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's been doing this for a couple months now.
Yeah, so Tony Stark just finds him, and then that's it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I was really happy when they decided that. I'm also very happy that they didn't do some fucking bullshit intro credit sequence where they show the origin.
Yeah,
it's just like, just don't thrust it up. I've already seen it in like 2
everyone
other
knows.
reboots, so it's fine. And then another good gag was the Aunt May gag, where like the best part was like the bus boy giving her rice. It's like, this is for you.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's just like I forgot what Aunt May said, but then Peter was like, no, I think he likes you or some shit like that.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. That even though that they were trying to pass her off as Aunt May, even though she did a good job as being Aunt May.
Oh yeah, I mean, I really appreciate that Aunt May isn't just like some ancient.
Yeah, Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, Marissa Tomei.
Tomei, thank you. She was a really good Aunt May. So, and yeah, she was she wasn't too, I don't know, like she wasn't overbearing. Like they didn't really put her that much in the film. Like it was just the right amount of Aunt May in there.
Right.
So, and then I guess if you want to like talk a little bit about spoilers, if you want to like get more in depth with some of the story elements that I really liked.
Spoilers, like
just to warn people that we might talk some spoilers right now. But I like the fact that Peter wasn't so perfect with his secret identity. I like that he was sloppy with it. I like the fact that Ned found out.
Yeah. And
then at the end, Aunt May found out.
Yeah, that was like, the best scene.
Yeah.
Just like, what the and then
exactly, it cuts away. And I really want to see how that plays now in the next film, because the past iterations of Spider-Man on film, at least, he was actually like, yeah, nobody didn't know. I guess like his
Yeah.
love interest knew. Eventually,
Yeah,
he
like-
always told his girlfriend like,
Yeah, I think
I'd rather be married
he
to
told
MJ
Mary
or
Jane in
and
like
Gwen.
the third one.
Yeah,
You know?
but then Gwen Stacy knew he was Peter Parker right off the bat. So
Yeah, and that's I enjoy high school Peter for that
Right.
aspect because I mean in the Tobey Maguire films it was like Peter Parker had led such a depressing life.
Exactly.
You're like, oh my god,
Dude,
he
just
just
say it.
can't get it.
just say it.
He's
She
like
would
living in like squalor and
yeah, it's just like that dumb reason when like, finally when he tells her was it in like part 2, like he just finally finds out
Yeah,
the community end of
something
part
like
2 or
that.
something like that. It was just finally no more of this dumb bullshit. Like no more sad Peter. He's just in there. But then we see Spider-Man 3, and yeah, we know all that shit. So, but yeah, I like the fact that now people that he's close to know what he is. Because yeah, I was kind of sick and tired of like the whole angle of like, oh, Aunt May being worried. She was always the worry widower. But now she can actually like take part within this.
yeah, like
story.
he has a support system rather
Exactly.
than like just 30 people that are just
Exactly.
cannon fodder.
Because that never made sense to me. It's like, oh, he's making up tons of like weird excuses for where he's always ditching up, and now he has a backup system where people could like, oh no, he has to do this or whatever. Like adds that support system to his character and you know the whole story itself. So I don't know, that was a really cool thing. Anything that you like that's kind of spoilery within the movie?
As a spoiler alert.
What about the angle of the Vulture being the
Oh.
Vulture's father?
That was awesome.
That was good.
Because he just like he doesn't know,
Right.
Like if he knows,
Right.
If it's some kind of trap, and the whole time it's just so uncomfortable.
Exactly. It's like,
and you can feel it, you know.
yeah,
Like,
it was. Oh my god, yeah, that was a really funny scene. And then the whole car scene when they're going back and forth. That was like really tense. Talk about tenseful, like him taking out the gun and whatnot. Even though, sure, Spider-Man can like dodge a bullet at that range. 'Cause
Although
he's fucking Spider-Man.
I'll say though, the love interest in the movie, she had a high, like, capacity for bullshit.
Right.
Because every scenario, it was like the math competition.
Yeah, and
the
the
dance,
party, and yeah, the dance.
party. All 3 times, he just like
Ditches her, but then she was always happy. And then after the like her dad's like in jail and she's going to like Ohio or whatever, some like very
too far for web slinging.
right,
that's for
pretty
sure.
much, where the point where she'd be not consequential to the story anymore. Yeah, that's why I felt like the main love interest. They really felt like the main love interest because she was just there for the story. Because now they're gonna move on to potentially Gwen or MJ.
Well, I saw a video online and like the character, I forget the character's name, but she's actually like from very early on in the original Spider-Man comics.
Right.
Like
Well, maybe,
before
like,
MJ was even created, you know.
Or is it maybe Felicia? We might see Felicia show up there, and maybe have a hint of like Black Cat.
What I would like to see is if they do like Black Cat, but you know she's older.
Oh God,
Because that
would be really funny.
That was the thing in one of the comics is that like she hooks up with Spider-Man and then she finds out that he's like 15 or whatever.
Yeah,
and she's like, oh my god.
She's having like a midlife crisis or whatever. It's really funny. Exactly. That's, and on top of that, they could definitely do a lot of like that, hormonal teenage humor. Like Peter Parker is definitely like, I'm sure if they do a Black Cat angle, which I don't think they're gonna do because of the ending. I think they're gonna probably go towards the Scorpion.
Yeah, but I mean, who knows?
Right? Yeah, exactly.
They
who
always
knows?
add in extra characters.
Exactly,
like,
because
you
Black
know,
Cat could be. She doesn't necessarily have to be a bad guy because she's always like.
Yeah, she's kind of like
She's walking the
Catwoman.
line.
She's
so
like
to speak. Yeah,
Catwoman.
exactly. Just in a lot of gray. She's not black or white. She's just gray.
She has the super soldier serum, right?
Right. That was her. That was her story in the cartoon. I don't know how it is now because you know how comics and that stuff just changes over time.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, they can do it.
Right. Exactly. They could mention that within because Captain America's
Yeah.
within the MCU. So.
They got it back now. So.
But they could definitely do a lot of like, a lot of like puberty jokes or whatever between because Black Cat could be older. She's definitely sexier. You know her character, so like there's a lot of comedy in there, and I do hope they do that. And but yeah, and then on top of that, they mentioned the Scorpion in there, which is God, playing by I'm forgetting the guy's name, but he's a really good guy. He's a really good actor in Better Call Saul. He's like the main villain in Far Cry 3, like one of the main villains. Like he played Voss. So that was really cool that they kind of like hint at that. You see the tattoo, and then you see him again in the end scene.
I really liked how like just a lot of the they just set up a lot of the villains right out the gate,
right,
without really like
actually like just saying or having them in the goofy getup. Like
or having like a whole half of the movie be the origin of them.
Right, exactly.
It was kind of like they were all in the same situation, so that's why they're all kind of like, fuck the world.
Exactly. They kind of they made these guys feel as real as the heroes themselves.
Yeah, it's kind of it kind of goes back to like the Punisher,
right?
And how he says to Daredevil, "You're just one bad day away from being me."
Exactly.
So those guys just had a really bad day, and
but then that was an awesome angle with the Vulture. That ultimately he wasn't really a bad guy. Like he did bad things. Don't get me wrong. He was the villain in the story, but his reasonings, like you kind of would see that. It's like no, the dude definitely he's getting pushed over by the whatever the cleanup crew was, that's run by Tony Stark. Because you kind of also makes sense that Tony Stark would do that because, he has the money and means to do something like that. And that was kind of his fault, that whole alien bullshit.
I thought it was really cool that the way they set him up is that, he kills the first Shocker.
Right.
And it kind of seemed like that was the first time he killed anybody.
Exactly. He went back to the guy and was like, I thought this was this. I didn't know this was the gun that would do that. Like, but then he realizes that he still needs to be fucking rock hard in front of these other goons.
He's gotta, be the bad guy.
Right. Because I know he threatened Peter and whatnot in the car, but I don't think he was actually gonna shoot a kid in front of a high school. During prom, like that wasn't gonna happen. He was definitely doing more of just kind of like the whole scene when Peter was about to pick up his daughter for prom. He was being that fatherly threatening, like oh. I'll stab you, whatever, but he wouldn't do that. He will probably beat the crap out of you, but he won't do that. But like that type of like threatening tension there. But I like the fact that he also had like a code. He knew that Peter saved his daughter's life.
Stuff like that. That was the coolest thing at the end.
He kind of just like when Scorpion was asking him about who Peter was, and he clearly know who he was, but he's like a fucking. He just kind of like says like,
if I knew who he was, he'd already be dead.
Exactly, that type of shit. So
I was kind of hoping. Like a little bit you'd get just he was like in passing see like Wilson Fisk or something.
Right, exactly.
I was like, oh my god, don't tell me that's what they're gonna do right now.
I would love this. I totally would love to see that you saw Wilson Fisk from the Netflix series show up in the cinematic stuff.
Oh man,
because that would have been on top of that. That would be like the first acknowledgement. Like, all right, we're starting to cross over a bit from these two avenues, and
because you see that in like especially in Luke Cage,
right,
with the guys who are like selling the bootleg tapes,
right, exactly. That they mention a lot of the incident and whatnot, and they talk about where they get all the fire powers from the aliens and whatnot. So I like the fact that that the whatever crazy high powered gun they have, just the backdrop's like the aliens. It's the aliens. Like they don't go into any more in depth about it. It's just like no, we just took this rock, put it in this gun, and now this gun shoots lasers. That was it. That's it.
Yeah, just the simplicity of
exactly. And
we had some alien fucking. Who cares?
All right, but to final thoughts about that movie. Yeah, dude, best Spider-Man. I could confidently say for a while. I was definitely like one of those people that Spider-Man 2 was the best, but now after seeing Homecoming, and especially with the context that like you said earlier, that we all seen, we kept up with the stuff, so it's even more just like
it would be interesting from like a perspective of someone who's not into
who hasn't
seen anything. That would be interesting to see how they think.
That'll be very interesting. But I don't know. We're now living in a world where this bubble is so huge and
Yeah,
encompassing.
it's like,
even if you're not into it, you kind of just know by osmosis
yeah, like,
what these characters are.
10 years ago, I feel like a lot of these films would have been straight to DVD.
Exactly. Or like
Because it's
either
like,
be
who
animated or
cares?
something,
Yeah,
or some
like some TV feature, like the David Hasselhoff
yeah,
Shield one.
yeah, exactly, something like that. Or
That movie is a wild
oh
ride.
wow, dude, I kind of it's been a while since I've seen it. Or just some like cheesy like experimental thing, like oh, it's all 3D. Oh, look at that, and
Yeah,
especially it's all 3D before like 1995 or some shit like that. Ugh. Oof. But yeah, overall I had a good time with the film. I thought it was
it's one of the best, like not even Spider-Man, but one of the best Marvel movies.
yeah,
straight
definitely.
up.
I like the fact that it wasn't so doom and gloom like Civil War was,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Civil War was just
Everything's just like, oh, everybody sucks.
yeah.
Fucking everyone's a bad guy.
But yeah, and then like I said, I saw like Doctor Strange for that, and that was all right. You know, Doctor Strange was okay. Definitely know it was that set up Marvel film. You know, just like Ant-Man and or like First Avenger or Iron Man 1. It's definitely just one of those like, no, we're this is the whole step for this guy. But yeah, Spider-Man. I didn't feel like it was a step movie. I didn't come across it. It was just like, nah, this is a great movie. This is like a great Spider-Man film that